Hey guys, welcome back to the save file. Today we are building the Blue Velvet. By today, I of course mean this is a speed build of a stream that we did a while back. If you'd like to join the save file project and join the live streams, join the Discord, all that good stuff will be explained down below. If you don't care for stream culture and you prefer to just watch videos like this, where I'm just talking at you and you don't have to say anything back, totally understand that. I'll do my best to keep you updated with these speed builds. As you know, for these neighborhoods in the save file, I want to have at least one residential and at least one community lot per neighborhood. There are some neighborhoods that only have one lot, primarily parks, so those will stay some sort of community lot. But so far today, we redid the Municipal Muses as a house for the muses, like from lore, from legend. So that was our residential house, and then this one is going to stay a community lot. Now, the Blue Velvet before, I liked it okay. Like, I think the concept of having a bar lounge type lot there makes sense. I just didn't like the lot very much. I don't like the design of having a bar on the main floor and dancing and everything, but then the bathroom's upstairs. The weird courtyard area didn't have much going for it. It wasn't great. It needed to be redone. So this isn't necessarily like a rebuilding of the original EA Blue Velvet, but it is still a community lot with similar focuses. Speaking of similar focuses, let's talk real quick about bars versus lounges versus nightclubs. Those are three base game lot types. So they're all in the base game, but they're all the same, but they're all different, and it was confusing. I had to do some Googling, and from what I understand, the lot type has to do with not only the required items on the lot, right, like a bar needs a bar and a gym needs gym equipment and all that jazz, but it also has to do with what sort of people spawn on the lot, like to work there, and what sort of people show up at the lot to visit it, and what the preferred activities of those sims are. So a bar, the preferred activities, again from what I understand, are going to be watching television and drinking bar drinks, possibly listening to music, like on a radio, and it'll be young adults and adults. But the lounge is more likely to host adult and elders, and I believe now also has an entertainer as well as spawning the bartender, so that's pretty nifty. And then the nightclub, that's more like young adult sims, and that's focusing more heavily on the music side of things as well. Because they all still have bars, so they'll all still spawn bartenders, it's just the general age of the people who visit, and the activities that they prefer to do are slightly different. So we made the Blue Velvet a lounge this time around. I wanted to go for like low-key comedy club vibes, like you're going to watch a show, you're going to watch a small group of people perform, like not a full rock band or anything, but maybe like a local singer-songwriter, maybe some local comedians, some smaller talent, stuff like that. That was the vibe I wanted to give off for this community lot. As you can tell, we're leaning into Art Deco vibes for this one. This building and the building next door, I wanted to make them feel like they were potentially built around the same time. And we ended up going with Art Deco-ish style. Art Deco is fairly difficult to build, honestly, in The Sims. We just don't have a lot of assets for it, especially not in the base game, but I did my best, and I think that it looks pretty groovy. You're going to watch us go through a lot of different color variations and window variations and floor plan variations, or maybe I'll cut a lot of that out, because honestly, we did a heckin' ton of stuff, but overall, at the end, I think we got a really cool looking building, which is really what I wanted. I just wanted it to look cool. I grabbed some lights and ended up doing a bit of a piano motif with them by making them black and white and alternating with the like black-white piano key pattern. If you don't like it, I totally understand. We had a lot of discussion about this in chat about how to actually do the pattern, but I felt like we needed a little bit more pizzazz, something that could function kind of sort of as a logo, like not fully a logo, but just a motif that we could assign to the business besides just the big sign, which is supposed to say Blue Velvet. It doesn't, because we have exactly 0 good options for business signs in the base game, but we did our best. We did our best with what we had, repeated that piano motif with the smaller wall lights throughout the building, inside, outside. We also grabbed a blue carpet for the ceilings, so the ceilings should all be what will look like blue velvet, which we figured would be good for like sound quality and keeping the sound from like bouncing around too much, because again, it's not a full concert hall. It's supposed to be small, cozy, you go grab some drinks, some food at the bar, possibly, if you happen to have a pack where you can order food at the bar. I don't remember what pack that is. I just know I was doing some playtesting with just the base game the other day, and I went to order food at the bar, and it wasn't an option. So there's some pack you need to order food at the bar. I don't know. That doesn't matter. What does matter is the floor plan. So I don't know if you know my recording process for this. I record the stream, I speed it up, I export the sped up version, put it back into my editing program, and then I watch back that sped up version as I talk. However, I will be cutting some things out. Like we tried about 8,000 different orientations for the stairs. I'm probably going to cut most of those out. So sometimes what I'm talking about lines up perfectly with what's on screen, and sometimes it doesn't. I'm hoping that I will get better at recording speed build voiceovers as we continue this little series, but no promises. So eventually we got the stairs figured out. We did a tiered setup in the back. That's where the stage and the bar and the bathrooms will all be. And then we have a smaller seating area, sort of lobby space at the front of the building right inside, as well as stairs to the second floor. The second floor, I wanted to have like a dance space. You don't actually have dance floors in the base game. They're okay. All right, but then here's another way that the base game gets confusing, because technically in the base game, like if you just downloaded a fresh copy of The Sims 4 today, you've never played before, you just got it, you put it on your computer, you start to play, you go to do dancing, technically you can dance to radio music, but there aren't actual dance floor objects and there's not a dance skill. That comes with a different expansion pack. There are actually a few expansion packs now with different dances and dance floor objects. However, if you've been playing the game for a while and you've participated in these like quest reward things that The Sims has been putting out, you know that there is actually a dance floor object now in the base game if you completed that event. So you might have a dance floor in your game, but I want these slots to be able to be downloaded by anybody regardless of how long they've been playing the game. So if you just got the game, you don't have the dance floor, but if you've been playing for a while and you completed little in-game quests, you might have a dance floor, but no, you can't go back and play old quests, which I think is dumb. Like, I think they should make them scenarios. Like, the scenarios barely have good rewards. Make it so you play the scenarios in the game, and then you can get the dance floor. Like, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be a great way to still have to play to get the reward or whatever, but then you can like still get it later on? So anyway, I'm trying to tell you about the dance floor I did upstairs. Jeez. So I wanted to do a dance floor upstairs, but we don't have a dance floor object, so I knew I was going to have to cheese it a little bit. That's why we have a second story, because I wanted to put dancing up there. And hopefully, because of the way that I've oriented the furniture and everything, your Sims should sort of default to dancing on the dance floor. I forgot we actually finished the main floor first, so I'll go back to talking about that now. But we'll get there, and I'll explain my thought process. We did bathrooms. I'm doing a new thing now, because I'm doing a lot of bathroom stalls with all these community lots, obviously, where I just do one bathroom stall, and then I copy and place it a bunch of times. Because that way I don't have to worry about making sure that, like, the light and the toilet paper are the exact same spot for each one of them, because if I just copy and paste it, it'll be correct. So that's how I did the bathroom stalls there, and it's how I've done every public lot bathroom stall that we've done in the world since then. It's my new favorite bathroom method. Things you never thought you'd say until you start making Sims content. So anyway, did the bathrooms, did a bar. I wanted to have the bar elevated to the back of the room so you could like go back to the back of the room, get your drink or whatever, and then move forward in the room to sit down. So we have a bar. I have a cute little like art installation type thing behind the bar. I used more of those lights to do the whole like piano keys thing again. So you can sit there at the bar at a bar stool, or you can go the next level down, which has seats and tables, which took me a second to figure out which seat and table I wanted to do, but I think I figured it out okay. Added a couple of little half walls here and there, and then at the very front there's just like comfy chairs, lounge furniture, still tables if you want to set your drink down or get a snack or whatever. And then of course the stage itself, I tried to put curtains up, it didn't work, so I'm gonna cut that out. It just didn't work. So if you're like, why didn't you put curtains on your stage? It didn't work. I tried like 8,000 different ways, I promise. It just wasn't happening. I might have changed the stage color as well. You might be seeing that now. I don't remember watching this back, and by the time we get to that point in the speed build, I will have forgotten what I was saying, but that's okay. I just wanted to feel cozy. I wanted to be a place where you could go, hang out, bring a friend, bring a date. You know, this should be a pretty good spot to bring your date, and you should actually be able to go and do things. Another trick here, you might notice there's a little bit of space like toward the back of the lot. One of the issues with community lots that you have to think of as a builder if you want to build like quality stuff is you have to think about how many Sims are actually going to show up on the lot, because it could be anywhere from like roughly 4 to 12. It could be more, it could be less, depending on your packs and your settings, and if you're inviting people to the lot with you and blah blah blah. But in general, you don't want to make them so big that they are going to just feel empty if you only have like a half a dozen Sims in there. We should have 1 or 2 Sims in each of the rooms, so we at least have something going on. Again, if we take into account the preferred activities of the lounge lot, in theory, most Sims should sort of congregate in this stage area to either perform or watch a performer, sit at the bar. Those should be, in theory, the preferred activities. So that should work. And when we went in and were playtesting, it honestly seemed pretty okay. I doubt that I'll do like a quote-unquote speed build of the playtesting process. So if you want to watch that, you're going to have to like just go watch the stream, but it should be bookmarked. Not bookmarked. Chaptered? Sure, chaptered pretty well. But I spent a lot of time here because I had to make over the bartenders and it was a whole thing. But it did seem to be not like hopping and popping or anything. There weren't masses of people, but it was believable. It was believable for like an afternoon or an evening in a small town because this is our first neighborhood. We just don't have a lot of Sims around anyway. But there were consistently a few people at the bar, a couple people sitting down, a couple people upstairs dancing and stuff. So overall, I think we balanced the size thing okay. It's a whole thing. Ooh, we're talking about the upstairs now. All right, so I made a dance floor. I made a dance floor by making sort of a boundary with a wooden floor, with rotating the floors. If you've been following my floor pattern series that I've been posting, you're going to know all these like keys and everything already. So if you haven't, I'll make sure I link the shorts at the end. But I was able to make that sort of frame, I guess, on the floor and then put the colorful tiles in the middle of the floor. So it'll look like a dance floor, but it doesn't function as a dance floor. Now, one of the tricks with this is if you're going to do this, because that frame will have to be the width of a full tile, or if you do it diagonally, a half tile, you want to make sure that the dance floor area is large enough that that size makes sense. So mine ended up being, what did I end up at? 6-ish tiles, I think, on the inside, so a total of 8 by 8 tiles. So those first 2 tiles are taken up by the frame, one on either side, with a total of a 6 by 6 tile square in the middle. I might have made it 1 tile larger, but I think I left it here. I don't even know anymore, man. But yeah, so that should look like a believable size for a dance floor. And then the next trick I did, right, is I made sure that I put the radio against a wall so that you couldn't dance behind it. I put platforms on either side that were 1 tile so you couldn't dance next to it, so that should force Sims to dance in front of the radio, aka on the dance floor. So it should look like a perfectly functioning dance floor without actually being a dance floor. So that's a lot of thought that went into that. And I really hope it pays off. It seemed to look pretty decent during playtesting, like I was saying. And in the future, as we continue to playtest, I may revisit the lot once we have more Sims in the neighborhood, just to make sure it's like up to snuff, you know? I also put a little cozy date corner, like go snuggle with your partner or take a quick nap on the couches to the side. And then we have additional bathrooms upstairs as well. So lots of bathrooms, lots of opportunities for your Sim to not die of embarrassment. But that brings me to my next point, which is every lot, if at all possible, should have a place to create life and a place to end it. And I was arguing that death by embarrassment could totally work for this lot. I mean, usually you can find a way to do like electrocution and whatever, and if you have seasons, that's the name of the pack, you know, the one that gives you rain and weather and seasons. If you have seasons, you can get struck by lightning as well, which sort of covers everything that has an outdoor space. But anyway, death by embarrassment or by overexertion, I think could potentially work here, but we needed a place to create life. And some people were saying, what if we added a shower? Because, oh, that's what I didn't think to talk about. On the main floor, I don't know if you guys saw it. Well, you probably did if you were using your eyeballs. I made like a little get ready green room sort of thing for any visiting comedian that may be stopping by. Then we were talking about putting a shower there. But the thing is, shower woohoo is actually only available if you have the Discover University pack. I know. So rude, and yet it's reality. So that's a bit of a bummer. Oh well, but that's all right, because what we ended up doing anyway was adding hot tubs. Now, it was interesting trying to figure out how to make the hot tubs feel like they could actually be reasonably a part of the experience of the lot. It is pushing it a little bit. It's definitely leaning into some of the Sims shenanigans, but I was able to make a cute little balcony with some similar shapes to the windows on the front of the house. It's over a back walkway, which we carried that walkway behind the other lots in this area as well to just try and tie in the lots to the neighborhood, make them feel like built there on purpose, not just tossed in casually. Also, it helps bring the perceived lot size down, which makes the build feel bigger, which again goes back into that spacing and how many people are going to be here that we were talking about just a couple seconds ago. Anyway, private balconies with hot tubs. I tried to make it look like it would potentially be like a paid access thing where like you're going to the club, you're having a good time, and you can like pay to go use a hot tub was the idea. Added some extra decorations. I added the little champagne buckets, which you should be able to enable the emotional vibe or emotional aura or whatever there. This is also reminding me to talk about my special rules. So I am trying my very, very best to make these lots easy to play in, to function fully. I want you to go to this lot and have a good time. And I want the lots to be easily editable, so if you have to change something, you can do that. Now, everybody changes residential lots because you have Sims that live there. So it doesn't matter how long you've been playing the game. The residential lots, I'm doing my very best to do as little sort of cheating of objects as possible. So you know how sometimes you can use move objects like on a counter. Let's say if we want to put paper towel on a specific counter, you can place it on a counterpiece. Move the counterpiece away from the wall. I'm using my hands to show you, like you can see them. You move the counterpiece away from the wall, and then if you click on that paper towel with move objects enabled, it'll actually stay at that same height, but it won't snap to anything. So you put it back in the empty space where the counter was before you moved it. You can put it anywhere you want there, and then when you put the counter back, it'll stay in that like not slot space. That is something I am not doing in the residential lots. I'm also only resizing objects that will not mess with you if I resize them. For example, I'm not resizing rugs in residential lots because if you make them larger or smaller, the click size stays the same, like the where you have to click to move the rug, which can be very confusing when the rug is big. Like if you take a 2-tile rug, you expand it to fill the whole room, you can only click on those 2 center tiles still to move the rug. And I don't want to cause you a crash out if you're just trying to redecorate a nursery, right? So for residential lots, extremely little resizing and things, very little alt placement, very few tricks and hacks and all that jazz. It should be very, very easy for you to change anything you need to change with minimal to no cheats in the residential lots. No, you're not going to like move a table and have a bunch of floating objects there. You're not going to try and click on a rug and not be able to click on it because it's resized or anything. However, fewer people, you're more likely to have more experience in the game if you start going to edit community lots. So for community lots, I do allow myself a little debug in like the landscaping and stuff, which I don't think I did here, but I did use it at the museum. A little bit more resizing, a little bit more cheaty placement and stuff. Still nothing too crazy, but I did allow myself a little bit more just with that general idea in mind, which is like, listen, everybody adjusts their residential lots. So we're going to use very few cheats there, but not everybody is going to try and adjust a community lot. So I'll use a few more little tricks there. Again, nothing too crazy, just a little bit. So if you're watching and you're like, wait, why do you have so many weird rules? Because I do. Oh, another thing I have, I do have a couple of mods that I used to build with. Oh, again, I don't remember if I did it here in this lot or if it was just another lot, but I have one mod where if I hold shift key and I click on a light bulb, I can change the color and the temperature and the brightness of the light just from build mode. Technically, because you can do that in live mode, I don't feel like using that mod is cheating. It's just keeping me from having to go and change all the lights in live mode, which is a whole extra step. Or, in a future lot, I have somebody who has a collection of fish in a residential lot. So technically, I'm using debug on a residential lot, which I just told you I wouldn't do. But I did it. Oh, don't worry. We also fixed the ceiling. You'll see some white ceiling spots. We fixed those in the future. But I feel like it's okay to use debug fish because it's just skipping the time it would take to go into live mode and go catch them. I'm not adding a bunch of stuff from debug to landscaping that would be like impossible for you to move. I'm not grabbing debug plates for clutter that are then just going to stink up your whole house, but I might save some time here and there. I'm trying my best to make this as good an experience for everybody as possible. Speaking of experience, how did you like the video? Because we're done now. I'll show you some screenshots, of course, of the lounge. We have the lobby, we have the stage, we have the bar, the bathrooms. This is, well, I was going to say this is like my favorite lot, but that's not really true because most of them are my favorites. I think the next one is one of my least favorites. It was just really awkward. I still like it. Like, I'm not going to keep anything I don't like. But the next one's a little bit awkward. But this one, I feel like, I honestly feel like this is probably one of the best community lots I've ever built. And we have a lot more coming up. So if you like it, you can subscribe, click the little notification bell if you want to. I won't force you to. I upload when I'm able to. Mom life, you know how it is. Yeah, what do you think of this lot? Is it too blue? It might be too blue. Honestly, that's a valid criticism. Let me know, however, in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching me build today. I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Bye!